TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here at one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community. And Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the programs that I call Taking My Community Back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap because we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna shake hands, we're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is just one of many events that we bring this grill out to help with our communities and get involved. I'm here today at one of our community outreach days with our sound truck. And our sound truck is used for just what you see. We come out to community days, we play loud music, and be able to just have a good time with it and enjoy our community. Our sheriff's office, you get to see us in a little different light. We're not always out there writing tickets or locking people up. We come out to your community day and be a part of your day and help you celebrate your community. And this is just one of the ways that we can do that, was with our sound truck. We're here today in one of our communities. We brought our ice cream truck out. A lot of people like to laugh when I say the sheriff's office owns an ice cream truck, but this is exactly what it's for, is we bring it out to our communities. We give away ice cream. We don't charge for the ice cream. The ice cream is free. And we have partners in our businesses in our community that help pay for the ice cream so that we can give it away for free. And we give it away. We go to schools. This is just one of many events that we bring our ice cream truck to. We go to the school systems. We come out to community days, block parties. We just come out and see you and help you enjoy and celebrate your community. Thank you.
How can you find a reliable source of CBD products? Introducing Holistic Wellness Boutique, a revolutionary collection of CBD tinctures, CBD topicals, CBD edibles, CBD pet products, and other relevant CBD products that help you incorporate CBD into your everyday lifestyle. The best part? Through our special Radiant Transformations program, Dr. Alea Daniel, PharmD, a well-regarded wellness coach, licensed pharmacist, and the mind behind the idea of Holistic Wellness Boutique, will also introduce you to a healthier lifestyle through proper education, nutrition, and a thorough medication evaluation to make the most of our exemplary CBD products. If you are struggling with a chronic condition, we can help you discover how to live a more holistic lifestyle through wellness coaching and the proper selection of hemp-derived CBD products. Visit holisticwellnessboutique.com to schedule a consultation or order an audacious combination of hemp-derived CBD products that will rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit.
Hi, I'm Michael Cowell, your funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party! All right, see y'all later. Bye.
The world and beyond.
Hey, I'm not in right now. Sorry. Leave me a message.
I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many many things I wanna do to your body, driving me crazy. I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body.
Hello and welcome to Bedroom Chronicles. My name is Mercury's Rising and I'll be your host today. My guest today is Dee Mack, and Dee wrote a book, and her title of her book is A Little Black Girl's, let me let her tell you. Dee.
It's titled A Little Black Girl's Story, The Hell I Held.
Okay. This is her book, A Little Black Girl's Story, The Hell I Held. And Dee's gonna talk about her book, and afterwards she's gonna tell us about if her past had an impact on her relationships now. So Dee, go ahead and tell us about your book.
Okay, basically the book is a memoir of my childhood. It's a true story. It's about a little girl that basically went through quite a few things at a very young age. But she's okay now. She's fine.
Okay.
But she endured a lot, you know, as a child. Basically, it's about abuse in every way. Mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally. I guess I could say everything except for drug abuse.
Wow.
You know, she went through a lot between the ages of 4 and 17 years old. That's what the book is based on.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped it at 17 because life did a turn after 17.
Mm-hmm. So what age did you start it at, Dee?
I'm sorry?
What age did you start telling your story at?
At the age of 4 years old. My family asked me how could I remember, but when you go through trauma, you can remember trauma in your life.
Okay.
And I specifically remember, like, detail for detail. That's how I was able to, you know, write it in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty strong but short read.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 100-page book, but it's a strong read. And the reason that I wrote this book, Joanne, is first I wrote it to vent. I was venting, and I needed to get just some things out of my system. And then, you know, as I was writing, it took me about 2 or 3 years to write it. And the reason it took so long was because when I got to the strong part, I basically laid it down and said I was going to come back tomorrow. And, you know, tomorrow was 3 or 4 months, you know, because it was so strong. And writing a book, you kind of have to relive what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can
And it was something that I didn't want to relive, but I did it. I sucked it up, and I did it because I wanted to get it out of my system.
Okay.
And another reason I wrote it is because I had my oldest son and I had been talking about writing a book. Like, we challenged each other, and we talked about it maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and didn't talk about it anymore. And I started to write, and I didn't mention it again until I had the book in my hand, till I manifested the book. And he was so proud. And 5 months after I published and I wrote and published the book, I lost him.
Wow.
I lost him to a drowning.
Oh, so
And
sorry.
basically the book has taken a mind of its own since then. And I'm kind of like just trusting God. I'm just kind of like going with the flow. I'm trusting the process. And the book has kind of taken on a mind of its own. And I'm kind of just going behind it, going with the flow of it. And another reason I wrote it is because if this book could start a dialogue between a parent and a child,
Yes.
to open up, to either prevent some things from happening or stop some things from happening, I think it served its purpose. The book has served its purpose.
Okay.
And I know for a fact that it has with, certain people, because certain people has reached out to me
Mm-hmm.
and it has touched them because of things that they've gone through in their childhood.
Right.
So I just want to let a lot of the young people know, even the older people,
Mm-hmm.
that, you don't have to be a product of your environment, and you don't have to, you're not what you went through, basically,
Okay. So, you have My Mama, Hell in Heels on chapter 1.
Uh-huh.
What's that chapter about?
I'm sorry, you were fading.
I said in chapter 1, the title you have is My Mama, Hell in Heels. Can you tell us about that chapter?
Okay, that's about my mom. My mom was like one of the most rawest women that you would ever meet. When I say raw, I mean as far as conversation, bluntness, like there was kind of no filter between the brain and the mouth. and that's how she raised me, and I'm kind of like that with, well, not kind of, but I was like that with my boys because it did a fit because literally, it opened up a dialogue because they knew that mom, would ask anything, and my mom would ask or talk about anything. But unfortunately, she didn't know about these things that I went through because she was murdered at an early age, and I guess I didn't get a chance to talk to her about it. She was murdered when I was 11, so I still hadn't got a grasp of what was going on, to even know to come to her and have a conversation with her.
Oh, okay.
But she was one of the most raw women that you would probably ever meet.
Wow.
Which was a good thing as a child because there was nothing left unsaid except for these things because they were taboo. So that's the whole purpose of me writing this book, is because a lot of these things are taboo and they're not talked about in families. So if I could get people to start to open up, especially to children, ask children questions, because a lot of things that children go through, they don't talk about it, and they won't talk about it if they're never asked about it.
That's true.
You have to open up a dialogue to them so that they would be feel free to, voice their opinion or voice what's going on with them.
So how old were you when the first time you talked about it?
30-something, maybe 40, I was an adult.
Okay. Wow.
I never talked about it as a young person. I was an adult before, I started to vent about it. I may have been in my late 20s, early 30s.
Okay. All right. So, all hell breaks loose. What are the main points in that
one?
chapter?
Okay, you're on the next one.
Yeah.
That was basically the first. How could I word it? That was in that chapter I talked about me first going through molestation. And it was at between the ages of like 4 and 6 years old.
Wow.
Before preschool, before kindergarten rather.
Right.
And it was some things that went through in life that, my mother, when I say all hell broke loose, I named each chapter in this book. The word hell is in each chapter because basically that's what it was.
Yeah.
All hell break loose was basically about the beginning of the hell. My mom had a fight that night when it started. She was taken to the hospital, and my stepdad took me home, and that's when it started.
Wow.
So that was the beginning of all the hell breaking loose.
Wow.
And that was the first time I could remember that I saw her have a fight and, had to go to the hospital. She suffered a very bad cut. and I literally was left with her boyfriend at the time, and he was Satan himself.
Wow. Well, Dee, I am so sorry for your experience and at the age that you experienced this trauma. And I can say that I genuinely understand what you're saying and what you went through at those ages. Because when you read my book, you'll find out that we have a lot in common. But back to you. So, did your mom find out after she came home from the hospital?
She never found out.
She never did. Wow.
He was a great, what's the word I'm looking for? He was the master pretender.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great disguiser. In the front of people and family, he was like the perfect person. This is why I wrote this book, because I want people to know that it happens with people that you think is just like the most loyal, perfect person. You know, not all, but those are the ones that trick you. Those are the ones that fool you. And like, he fooled my whole family. He fooled everybody until he was no longer in the picture.
Wow. So did you ever confront him as an adult?
I never saw him again. I never wished to see him again. I never saw him again. Even though it happened a few times in my life, that was an episode with him. And then I went through the episode of my mom being murdered. And after that, I had to go live with family members, and then it started again with another family member.
My.
And he was a pastor. He was a pastor of two churches at the time. And it was like a nonstop thing. And I've been on my own since I was 16, going on 17 years old, and I just couldn't wait till that age hit me so that I could just be free, you know, of all of that.
So,
and that's when I left.
Wow. So when you left at 15 to 16, how did you deal with those memories and thoughts?
I'm sorry, say that again?
When you left at the age of 15 and 16, because you was able to get away from that type of environment, how did you deal with it?
I pretended nothing ever happened. I just wanted to start over. I just started a new life. Like, I just moved away from everybody, and I just started over.
Okay.
Because it was just, I just wanted a new start, you know.
Wow.
And not saying that it was a great new start, but it was a new start, you know.
Okay.
And I just wanted to start over and revamp myself.
So I'm going to ask you this question. Between the ages of 4 and 6, were you basically numb to the experience that you was going through at that time?
From that young age, I literally learned to not be present. You know, I learned to not be present. I learned to just, my mind would be elsewhere. When I realized, because I think it took me a minute to realize that something is wrong, you know, this is not right.
Right.
The very first experience, I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was.
Wow.
But I knew something wasn't right, you know? You know, you got those instincts. And even as a child, almost a baby, I just knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't put it into words, because you can't put into words what you don't know what it is, you know?
Right. Yeah, I know. I truly know. Wow.
I'm going to tell you one incident. There was an incident where after the first incident happened, I for some reason, I don't know why, I felt guilty. I felt just ashamed. I felt guilty. And I remember one day sitting and crying, just crying, and my mom was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong with you?" And I was like, basically, I didn't say anything, and I was watching TV. It was so crazy. I talked about it in the book. I was watching TV, and at the time, I think Feed the Children or something was on. It was like a
Okay, Dee,
a
can
commercial.
you hold that thought for a minute? We're gonna go to commercial.
Okay, sure will.
We'll be right back. Commercial time.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc., reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Hi, I'm Michael Kyle, your funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party! All right, see y'all later. Bye.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back to Bedroom Chronicles. My name is Mercury Risings, and I'm your host for today. My guest today is Dee Mack. Dee wrote the book, A Little Black Girl's Story, The Hell I Held. Dee is giving a synopsis of basically her experience in writing the book and the experience that she endured as a child. So Dee, you can talk to us about but we were talking about All Hell Breaks Loose, but you can pick up where you left off at.
Okay, I was giving you a quick little story about what happened. Oh my God, I got lost a train of thought. I'm sorry.
So I think you
this
was
is so strong for me. I'm sorry.
You were telling me about what happened with your mom.
My mom didn't know any of this that took place when I was between the ages of 4 and 6. Oh, I was talking about me not knowing. No, I was going to give you a story.
And then we talked about the pastor. You said the last thing you said. Well, before the last thing you said, one of your traumatizing person was a pastor.
I remember.
Okay.
I was talking about when me not knowing exactly what was taking place, you know, at that age.
Right.
But I knew it wasn't right.
Uh-huh.
And I was sitting watching TV. Right. This was probably a day or two after the first incident.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know. I was sitting there watching TV, and it just, I don't know. I just felt like something just wasn't right. Like, I just felt like my innocence was gone, literally. That's the feeling I felt, like something, I'm not this little girl, like, anymore. And I was sitting watching TV, and I started crying. And out of the blue, I just started crying. So my mom was like, "What's wrong?" You know, she started hugging me and was like, "What's wrong?" She had no idea what was wrong. So she looked at the TV and Feed the Children. Something was on about, you know, it was about poverty.
Yeah.
And she assumed that I was, you know, touched by that. And was like, "Oh, you're looking at," you know, she insinuated that. So I kind of like just went along with it. And that was, I think then that's what I wrote this book, because I want parents to just talk, just act. Like, sometimes you have to be raw, you have to be blunt. Just ask your child. If you feel, even if you don't feel like something is wrong, just ask them, just talk to them. You know, just put it out there. Let them know that they can come and talk to you about anything, no matter what.
Right.
And you won't be angry or you won't be upset with them. Like, you have to put it out there, because if they feel intimidated by in any type of way, like, that's going to be a secret the rest of their lives.
Right.
You just have to put it out there and have them to know that you got their back. But I'm not blaming my mom, because she did what she knew, you know?
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm quite sure she wasn't thinking that type of way in no type of way. So I kind of chalked that up and let her think that that's what it was, because if she would have asked me what was wrong, I honestly, I thought about it, I wouldn't have known what to tell her, you know, at that time. I wouldn't have known what to say to her as far as what's what the problem was. Why was I crying?
Right.
Because I didn't know. I just knew something wasn't right, you know?
So, were you overprotective of your kids?
Oh, my God. And I pray to God that I have boys. Not saying that it can't happen to boys. I know for a fact that it can happen to boys. But the chances are probably less likely than a girl, you know? And I had, God blessed me with 2 boys. And, yes, we had conversations that you could only imagine. Like, we talked about things, and I didn't open up to them about my life. My oldest son, both my boys, my oldest son, thank God, you know, he was fortunate enough to read the book before he left, before he passed. And he understand me more. He told me he understood me more after reading the book as far as the reason why I was the way I was with them growing up.
Right.
You know, I never voiced it to him just face to face. He read it and came to me and was like, wow, I thought I knew you, but I guess I didn't.
Wow.
And he was like, now I understand, you know.
I think that's a good thing, because now if they have, if your son have kids, then they know exactly what to look for and how to talk to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. And if one mother can talk to one daughter and she open up and maybe prevent something from happening or stop something that's happening, I'm happy.
Okay. So let's go to What the Hell. It must have been something explosive in that chapter.
That was the beginning.
Okay.
That was, you mean what the hell?
Yeah. So by this time, were you in school when you...
Okay, what the hell was that very first, I'm sorry, what the hell was me trying to figure out what the hell just happened to me.
Okay.
That's what the explosiveness was, when I realized that this man has done something that I don't understand what it is. So I was puzzled.
So, in the third chapter on page, in the third paragraph on page 7, can you read the first 4 sentences?
Oh.
Can you read the first 4 sentences, D?
Oh, God. I got up and noticed I wasn't wearing any clothes on my little naked frame and rushed to the bathroom. That's when I noticed what in my brain conceived to be mucus on me. My tiny thighs were sticky with a white substance. This kind of bothers me when reading it out loud.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, take your time. Take your time.
I had no idea what had happened to me, but I was sure it was something that had made me not so innocent as I once were.
So, you didn't have anybody to talk to or tell about that incident?
No.
You just took care of
Because
yourself?
when that happened, when that very time happened, that was when Mama was in the hospital.
Wow.
And that was the morning after. I went pretty raw in the book, but I guess I gotta get myself used to reading it out loud, you know.
Wow. No, I know that's hard.
But I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry, because I know anytime that you read it over, it's still going to be hard. Because sometimes we think that we are over something, but we are not. And this just opens it up again every time you read those few triggering words.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does. This is the first time I ever read it out loud, you know. Yeah.
So let's go to Raising Hell. Because Raising Hell, you said you're in elementary school now.
Oh, that was kind of a funny chapter because I talked about being in school, but I also talked about that was kind of like the better time because I had a favorite teacher, you know, and she made life a lot better once I left home and went to school.
Wow.
And she was great. She was somebody I remember from being a child.
So what subject did she teach?
She was an all subject teacher. Back then, you know, you went in one class.
Okay.
You were in one class back then when I was in elementary.
Wow. So how long did your mom stay with your abuser?
How long did she what?
How long was your mom in a relationship with your abuser?
I would say about 2 years. I would say about 2 years because after her relationship with that person, she got with another person, and I think at the time, me being a kid and not knowing what to expect, I expected the same thing from the new person that she was, you know, that she started dating. But as I wrote in the book, he was the total opposite. He was the total opposite. He was nothing like this person.
Okay.
He was a real dad.
Wow. Did he sense anything in your behavior as being not totally?
No, because I was standoffish from him. You know, at first I was, because I was expecting the worst.
Right.
So I stayed away. I stayed away as much as I could. And even when my mom was with the first person, with JR, I tried to stay away from him as much as possible, but he was one of those people that pretended to, oh, I love her, oh, she can come with me, oh, I'll take her to the store, oh, let me do this, he was one of those people. And you kind of got to be wary of those people that's loving your daughter a little too much.
Right. So, I see that JR drank a lot.
Yeah,
so
alcohol played a big part in my childhood.
So was he the same way when he was sober with you?
He was a devil, sober, drinking. He was the same exact person.
Wow.
He was probably a little bit more, I don't care, when he had been drinking. He was a little bit more bolder.
Wow. So why did you get the whipping?
I'm sorry?
The next chapter is Hell of a Whipping.
Oh, that was an incident when my mom, she was a drinker, and that was the abuse part, the physical abuse part. She wasn't a negative person, but she had her moments. My mom had her moments. She was a drinker. She the title Hell of a Whipping was my first time getting a whipping with an extension cord, and that was like one of the most painful things in life. But I figured I wanted to talk about it because I would never in a million years hit my child with that, Wow. And she, it happened when she was drinking, so nothing like that ever happened when she was sober.
Okay. So we're gonna go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back with D Mac.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here at one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community. And Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the program that I call taking my community back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap because we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna shake hands, we're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is just one of many events that we bring this grill out to help with our communities and get involved.
Hey, I'm not in right now. Sorry. Leave me a message.
I just want to love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body, driving me crazy. I just want to love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body.
Welcome back to Bedroom Chronicles. My name is Mercury's Rise, and I'm your host today. And we have on the phone Dee Mack. Dee is the author of A Little Black Girl's Story, The Hell I Held. It is very interesting. Dee, where can your book be found at?
Right now it's on Amazon.com.
Okay.
That is the only avenue I have it as of right now.
Okay.
And it's also in ebook.
All right.
You can buy a paperback copy, and it's also on ebook on Amazon.
Okay, so Dee is going chapter by chapter, giving us a little peek at some of the traumatic events that happened in her life as a child. So Dee, we were talking about hell of a whipping. So you want to give me a little bit more on that?
That was just, I basically talked about the abuse, the physical abuse, being whipped with an extension cord. But it happened twice in life, and the first time it happened, my stepdad, which is Mr. Ben that I talked about in the book, which was a real father.
Right.
He stepped in and warned my mom, and it happened again, and he stepped in and kind of gave her what she gave me, and it never happened after that. It never happened again after that. But not that I'm condoning any type of abuse, but he gave her a taste of her own medicine, and it never happened again.
Wow.
And even when that took place that day, I was like, you just love your mom. I was on her side.
Okay. So, Dee, you talking about the OG in the projects? Who was that?
Oh, the OG in the projects. That was my best friend's granddad.
Oh. Okay. So, you mentioned that there was a difference between JR and your mom's second boyfriend?
That was a big difference.
So how long did it take you to warm up to the second boyfriend?
My mom was with him up until she died.
Wow.
She was 34 years old, I was 11 years old. So it took probably some months. I'm not going to say years. It took months because he was just a very kind person. He was never overly friendly with me. He was just like a dad. He disciplined. He took care of things. He took care of me and my mom. He was a dad. He was a good person.
Okay.
He was a great man.
So do you keep in contact with him?
I have. I think he passed away, since I've last talked to him
Mhm.
because it's been some years. It's been years on top of years, and he was kind of sickly back then when I did talk to him.
Right.
But I haven't talked to him in maybe a good 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
It's been years.
Okay. So you talk about heaven and hell in 1979. So tell me about the heaven part of 1979.
That was the best part about growing up as a kid in the projects. Like, I had the best of friends. We had the best of, like, we didn't even know we were poor. That was the best life ever. We just had the best of we had each other. Like now kids, you know, everything is about phones and inside the house, video games and social media, and that's the only way you talk, and you, like, we had each other.
Wow.
And that was like, I didn't realize how good it was until it was over.
Wow. So
we had each other. But the hell part was about, you know, just living in the projects, and you got pervs, you got people that, you know, from all walks of life. Because I did grow up in Miami, and you know, we had a lot of foreign people,
right?
A lot of Spanish people, a lot of, you know.
Okay.
It was, you had a lot of pervs from all different nationalities. Put it like that.
Okay. So how old were you in 79?
I was 8.
8?
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
I was 8 years old.
Okay. So is it about time now for the second person abuser to show up?
It was, I'm sorry. Okay. That was after my mom was murdered and I had to go live with family members.
Right.
So I had to leave Miami and go back to Mississippi.
Wow.
Mississippi is where I was born.
Okay.
But my mom took me away from there when I was about 4 years old. But after she was murdered, I was, for 5 years, from the age of 11 to 16, I was back and forth from Mississippi to Miami, living with family members.
All right.
And at that very time, that incident, I had went back to Mississippi to stay with my mom's older sister, which was my aunt.
Okay.
And she was married to a pastor.
Wow.
And, yeah.
So you were 8 or 9 when you went to live with your aunt that was married to the
No,
pastor?
no, I was younger. No, I was older when I lived with my aunt.
Okay.
That was when I went to stay with her was after my mom was murdered. So it was at age 11, 12 years old.
Okay. As an adult, did you ever tell your aunt what happened?
Yeah, that's when it all came to a head. It all came to a head because by the time I was, you know, between the age of 11 and 13, and had been, you know, living in Mississippi and going through it, like, he started from little things because my family grew up very religious. Like, we were in church 3-4 days a week, nights a week. You know, we basically lived in church. And he was a pastor. Even though my aunt went to a different church, we were at a church, either hers or his, one night out of the week. And he started from the small things. He started from, because I was adopted. My brother and I was adopted. Long story short, my brother, you know, my aunt that in Mississippi, she raised my brother.
Right.
So we were adopted. We were given to 2 sisters.
Okay.
And when my mom was murdered, I went to go stay with her sister, which was my aunt. So my brother's living there too. And he's younger than I am. I'm like 13 now. He's 10. Well, I'm like 12 and he's like 9.
Okay.
And we are, you know, like I said, we were living in church almost every night.
Wow.
And he started with the little things as far as, let Miss Mac come to Bible study with me. You know, it was always volunteering me to go with him, which was always him volunteering me to go with him. And long story short, over time, it was going on. I was back and forth. I leave, go to Miami, and I think I was back and forth so much because I was just going to be with, if this family member could afford me at this time, I was with this one. If this one can afford me at this time, I was with this one. That's why I was kind of like shifted back and forth so much. But he knew these things, and he took advantage of these things. And when I came back with them, it was, you know, give me a kiss. It was, you know, Miss Mac, I need you to come, and, you know, I'm going to Bible study in Meridian, which is a couple of hours from where we were from.
Right.
So we got to stay overnight. And when it all came to a head was when, I guess, the night that he was going to try to go all the way.
Right.
And I just wasn't having it. And I wrote it, I talked about it in the book. And I basically talked about when he took me and drove the car in between some fish ponds, and I was literally, he got out of the car, and I locked the doors. I reached over and I locked the doors in the car.
Wow.
Because I knew I knew that was it that night. And I sat there, he beat on the window. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Wow.
Because 1 minute he was, you know, pastor. The next minute he was a gangster on the street. Like 1 minute I was Miss Mac, the next minute I was, you know, B's and H's. It was, it went on for a couple of hours, and when things was calm for a longer period of time, when I was able to when I got the confidence to open the doors, he drove, jumped in the car, and was like, and if you tell your aunt, she's not going to believe you, and if she do, or if she do, she's going to send you back to Florida where don't nobody want you. Like, it was a lot of mind games being played.
Wow.
And it worked for a while, but that night I was done with it. I was done. So when I got home, I told. And I thought we were going to get killed. I thought I was going to die that night. But I thought I was going to die or she was going to send me away. And neither one of those things happened.
Wow, wow.
We moved. We literally moved. By that weekend, it's like she was waiting for me to say something. Like she thought something but didn't want to say it.
Right.
You know, because the minute I said something, she reacted.
Wow. Ooh, I'm happy she reacted in a positive way for you, but that's a horrible.
I'm sorry?
I say I'm happy that she reacted in a positive way for you.
Yeah. She did.
Because it could have been...
Compared to what I was thinking and what he had me thinking. And by then, I was like, it's whatever. Like, I don't care what happened now. I'm just done with this. I'm tired. I'm tired of being the guinea pigs for these men in my life.
Okay. So, Dee, can you tell me how your past has, from your childhood, all of that trauma, has affected your relationships now, or have they?
It has affected my relationship in different avenues. It has affected my relationship with my boys. It's affected my relationship with God. It's affected my relationship with my ex, you know. But it's made me stronger. It's made me stronger because giving up has never been an option. Like, I never even thought about that until last year. But as far as my childhood, my what I went through, what I wrote about in this book, it has definitely made me a stronger person.
Right. Wow.
And the way that it has affected my relationship with my boys is, you know, it's gotten us closer and, of course, closer to God. And as far as relationship-wise, I kind of had a nonchalant mentality about a relationship in my past. It was easy for me to just let it go.
Okay. So let me tag on to the relationship a little bit more. So I I've spoken to other women that have been sexually abused, and I know my own experience. But so how has your response to the man in your life that you're in a relationship with intimately, how has your response been? Have you had problems having orgasms? Have you had problems showing that you are interested in the sexual contact between the two of you? Or
It hasn't really. Oh God, you got.
Yeah, because it does. I'm aware that it does affect how you respond later. It affects when you have an orgasm. It may not. Some women haven't even had one until later in life, way later in life.
That is so true. It was 3 years after I got my virginity broken to the date that I had a first orgasm.
So let's hold that thought right there, Dee. We're gonna go to a commercial now. It'll be a hot spot to come back on.
Gotcha.
So, be right back with D-Mac.
Are you an artist, a writer of spoken word? Do you have content ready but need exposure? Get to know me. I'm Alicia, host of a new Facebook live stream show called The Flavor, where we promote local and international talent of all genres. Here are some rules and regulations to the videos that we'll be accepting. They must be radio ready, no cursing, no lewd language. You must send us contact information as well as a YouTube link to your video so we can extract it from there. Email us at 1061tv@gmail.com. And we thank you for your time.
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
Okay, welcome back to Bedroom Chronicles. My name is Mercury's Rising. I'm your host. Today we have D-Mac on the phone, and Dee is talking about her book, A Little Black Girl's Story, The Hell I Held, and it's very interesting. So Dee is, before we went to commercial, we were talking about the intimate feelings that you get when you're in an intimate relationship, whether you're having an orgasm or can't achieve an orgasm, or what along that line when you have been sexually abused. So Dee was saying it took her about 3 years after. So Dee, go ahead. Can you explain a little bit more?
I think a lot of it has to do with, I think a lot of it is mental. Well, yeah, I think a lot of it is mental because, you know, after being abused sexually, like, it's hard for you to open up with your partner or like, it's like a battle. Like, if I do this or if I do this, what would he think? You know, what would he think of me? It was like a shaming thing because of the abuse. It was like sex was something that you just didn't, you know, it was just like, it was a bad thing.
Wow.
Which now we all know that it isn't, you know. It's part of life.
Right.
Because how else do we, you know, procreate? But it did affect me as far as the intimate part in relationship because at one point in life, I must be honest, it was, you know, I was young and I think the effects of it was being promiscuous.
Okay.
And getting over that part was thinking you're not good enough.
Wow.
Getting over that part, it was a lot of mental stuff that. And then it was like, okay, now I'm gonna treat everybody like they're a dog. It was a lot of battle of oh my God, it was a lot. Like, you bringing out a lot in me right now. Things I buried.
Well, you know, when this is over, you can call me. We can talk about it some more. So, Dee, did you find it hard to relax? Or were you in a fighting mode just before the intimacy? Well, once you got past the kissing and the hugging.
I think I was never that secure to even go there. Like,
I know it's a bit much, but we can get through it.
insecurity played a lot, and insecurity played a big role. So it was like we didn't even have to hug and kiss at one point stage in my life, you know, because that's all you want anyway. So okay, let's just go there.
Wow. So
But
go ahead.
as time went on, that was my beginning because that was all I knew, you know.
Right. Wow.
The grooming part of that I knew was not the right foreplay that as an adult that we do as an adult.
Okay.
It was another type of grooming. So I had to learn a lot.
Wow. So today, Dee, how are you with sharing your intimacy?
Today, it's great.
Great.
Other than my mental battle that I'm going through with the loss of my son, I can't complain about as far as relationship and, you know, a partner. I can't complain about that. I just gotta, you know, I just gotta get my mind in a space where I could accept the fact that I have to be on this earth without my son.
So, Dee, out of all
So a man is like not even, you know, I of course I love men, but you know that it is what it is. I gotta work on Deborah's mind and peace.
Okay. Wow. So
And when he comes, it's just going to be an addition.
When he what?
I said when he comes, it's just going to be an addition
Okay.
to my life.
All right. So, page 88, you says, hell when it's all said and done. So, what did you mean by that?
On 88?
Yeah, the last chapter.
That was when I told everything, and I asked my aunt if I could leave. I was 16 going on 17, and she said that I could. But, of course, she gave me her rules and regulations after I leave. What I can and can't do, of course, you know, like it was going to be done, or like it mattered when I left. But all said and done, it was done and over with. I was starting a new chapter. I didn't want to look back. And I didn't. I never went back home. When I left, I never went back.
Wow.
I never had the desire to go back, you know? I love my family, but I always just wanted to just see what I could do.
So do you think, you said you never had the desire to, but do you think you might go back?
No.
No?
I have nothing there.
Wow.
I lost my son here. My life is here now.
Okay. So how's the relationship with your aunt?
My aunt since then has passed,
Oh, okay.
but we had a great relationship.
Awesome.
We had a
Wow.
great relationship.
Okay.
Though well, I might be telling stuff that's not in the book, but I'm gonna say it.
Go ahead.
Though I, you know, went through this, and I told my aunt, and she picked us up. We moved. After we moved, she ended up on drugs, and I'm in my mind, in my heart, I feel like I was kind of the cause of that, because if I had just held my peace and not said nothing for a couple of more years till I was able to leave on my own, you know, she probably would have grew old and still been here married to him.
Wow.
But after I said what I said, and we left, like, she literally just got strung out on drugs. She went from church to the street.
My. And what about her husband? What happened to him?
He passed away a couple of years ago. He ended up with cancer. And let me give you a rundown, a quick story about him. He ended up going to prison.
Wow.
Yeah, it caught up with him. After some years, it caught up with him. He ended up going to prison and got out because I guess the state didn't want to pay for his cancer medication or him having cancer. So they let him out and he passed away.
Wow. My. Whew.
And when he got out, I think he may have stayed there about 5 years. When he got out of prison, you know, he was still trying to keep that pastor role, which was so mind-boggling to me.
My, that's an ordeal.
After all those years, it caught up with him.
Well, you know, karma usually do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes quick and sometimes it takes a while.
Yep.
So, my.
But relationships is, you know, my relationships with men, they're okay. They're pretty good now.
Okay. Well, that's
no problem.
So did you ever go to therapy?
No.
No?
Never. I only went to therapy after I lost my son.
Okay. So are you working on the childhood trauma as well while you dealing with the grief of your son?
I think all of this is like, I don't know what it is that God is doing, but I know he's doing something because if for some reason it's like all of this is coming to a head in one thing, you know? I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes
but
sense.
It's like all of it is things are still happening. I'm not quite sure what it is, but yeah.
Okay. My. Well, Dee, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know I was just gonna say I just you know, trust the process and I believe in God, you know.
Yeah.
And I always believe in staying positive, being a positive person, you know, no matter what.
You know, Dee, positivity, that's a road I've been on myself. And it does make things a little bit better. Shit, a whole lot better than being on a negative or around people that are negative all the time.
Yeah,
So,
you got to surround yourself around positive people,
you
too.
have to. You have to. So
that means a lot.
It does. Well, it means a lot to me that you came on the show today. And
I appreciate you, and I thank you for having me.
And I'm looking forward to having you back.
I'm looking forward to being back.
After you read Bedroom Chronicles. And
I really enjoyed it. Mercury, I really enjoyed it.
Okay. So I want you to stay in touch, and whenever you feel like you might want to talk, just hit me up.
I sure will. I'm going to take you up on that, too.
All right, Dee. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, Bedroom Chronicles. So we have, I have a lined up of shows that TV 1061 broadcast, and on Wednesdays is The Flavor at 8 p.m., The Playlist at 9:30 p.m. On Thursdays is Bedroom Chronicles at 6 p.m. Saturday is One Nation at 2 p.m. On Sundays is Talk Show Divas at 4:30 p.m. and Talk Show Kings at 6:30 p.m. Please join us on those days, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, we didn't talk too much or at all about Bedroom Chronicles, but I thought I'd give Bedroom Chronicles, Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find, A Little Break Today. And it was interesting that Dee's story touches on my story as well, because we both have the experience of sexual abuse at an early age. So any and everything that she spoke about, her feelings and how she felt with the family members, I can relate. And I think she made some important points about talking to your children. Even if you don't think anything is wrong, still sit down and have a conversation with them. Inform them of things that you are aware of, that they shouldn't feel afraid to let you know what's happening to them so that the parent can help. Sexual abuse and, molestation and at a young age can damage a person for many years until they seek some help or have avenues or other avenues that they can take to help them get through the lingering thoughts of the things that happened to them and if it was their fault. Listening to Dee tell her story, she did mention that she thought that times that even after she got older, that and when she was in relationships, that maybe she wasn't good enough, or that the person that she was with when she got older was just basically there for one thing, and she bypassed some of the lesser intimate experience, like the hugging and the kissing, and just went straight to the sexual contact part of it, the relationship. But anyway, I think for any parent, any genuine family member, just pay attention to the kids, because overall the behavior of that child is going to tell you if something is going on. And don't let it be that you think it's because they are watching a scary TV show, or they are watching a show that may cause them to cry, because it can be something else. Just probe a little bit further. Sexual abuse is usually a hidden family secret if it's happening within the family. So again, on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. we have the flavor. At 9:30 p.m. we have the playlist. On Thursdays we have Bedroom Chronicles at 6 p.m. Saturday is One Nation at 2 p.m. Sunday is the talk show Divas at 4:30 and the talk show Kings at 6:30 p.m. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Hey, I'm not in right now. Sorry. Leave me a message.
I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body, driving me crazy. I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body.